Star Trek Lower Decks is into its 4th episode of Season 4. This week we get an overdue visit to the Orion homeworld in Something Borrowed, Something Green. We finally get a massive focus on D'Vana Tendi in this episode, which has been long overdue. And it's such an interesting world building episode as well, character dynamics, and it doesn't take too much time for our other Lower Deckers who are also in the episode to get the opportunity to shine in the episode itself. Spoiler warning, this is our full review of Lower Decks' 4th episode of Season 4. As such, you have been warned. If you've not watched this episode, turn away now. I mean it. Welcome to Trek Central. I'm your host Captain Jack, and let's get straight into it. But don't forget, before we warp into the video, if you want to keep up to date on all the latest Star Trek news, lore and more, then make sure to hit that subscribe button to never miss a video from the team here at Trek Central. You can also follow us on social media for daily updates on the Star Trek universe. Okay, engage. The episode starts with our season-long arc threat with an Orion ship being attacked by this mysterious vessel that has destroyed a Romulan and a Klingon ship before it. I will say the ship does appear to be a Cerritos-style Orion Pirates ship. A second piracy ship? The ship is a cool looking Orion Interceptor with spikes on top, and it seems to deliver dilithium to other Orion pirate ships and sort stolen pirate loot. This season arc is interesting, showing us how big a threat this enemy ship is, and it's nice that we are getting a little of it throughout the season, but we aren't really getting anything more. We know the ship can disintegrate enemy starships in a single blast. Showing it a third time doesn't really add much, but at least this time it is showing an Orion ship which links well with the episode, and this ship is mentioned to be missing in the episode itself. The main thrust of this episode is Orion-centric and gives us a lot more backstory for Tendi, which we've only had small glimpses of in the previous episodes and seasons. We know Tendi is a capable pirate and known as a mistress of the winter constellations, but this episode really gives a lot more of our favourite Orion Starfleet officer. Not only do we get a lot of Tendi, but I have to mention just how well the season is dealing with T'Lyn. As we mentioned in a previous review, adding another character to our group of lower deckers threatened to leave some focus off our main characters, but so far they're doing an excellent job. T'Lyn has always become a favourite of mine this season, not only playing with straight person and a lot of gags, but also growing as a character and a friend of our lower deckers. The moment where T'Lyn, after recording everything she can of Orion culture, just throws away her pad just to make Tendi feel better is a really touching moment and kind of funny in its own right. We do learn a lot about Orion culture in this episode, with the Tendi family being the 5th largest family in the Orion Syndicate. We meet Tendi's family, including D'Erica, the one getting married this episode, and the new Prime after D'Vana left. A Prime being an Orion assassin. The mistress of the winter constellations is D'Vana, but D'Erica also became that after Tendi left to join Starfleet. We meet Tendi's parents, warrior queen Shona, the matriarch of the family, and her husband, Bert. We can definitely see a lot of Tendi's mannerisms in both her parents, which is nice to see. Previous episodes have had Tendi mention that not all Orions use pheromones, and is reinforced with people saying that while most Orions use pheromones to control people, some don't, and Tendi could control people without the use of pheromones. Good bit of world building. We see Orion villas, Orion cities, Orion nightclubs, Orion drinking games, and we get a lot of Orion world building in the episode towards the Orion people, which I love to see. The only thing I really would like to have seen in this episode is the Ad Shake Center, which Tendi said she wanted to go and visit in the very first episode of Star Trek Lower Decks. The whole mission Tendi, Mariner and T'Lyn gone, is to find Tendi's sister, D'Erica, as she has been kidnapped before her wedding. This apparently is a traditional thing to do, however the timing is odd, so Tendi's parents believe D'Erica is in actual danger. They track her down to a ship graveyard, a place where stolen ships are left, which includes a Starfleet Raven type ship. Yes, the same class of USS Raven was, which belonged to the Hansons, aka 7 of 9's parents. It turns out D'Erica actually kidnapped herself to essentially force Tendi to return home and find her so they could have it out. D'Erica feels that she was abandoned when Tendi left for Starfleet, as all her Syndicate assassin responsibilities fell to D'Erica. Thank you, iPhone. Hopefully that won't come through on the mic. I have to say that the animation in this fight scene was done so well, as the smearing when D'Erica does a flip, and the fight scene in general was done extremely well. It looks brilliant is all I'm saying. We got a very nice heart-to-heart between the two sisters, which is very touching, and I do really hope that we might see D'Erica and the other members of the Tendi family again in the future, because, at least for now, they seem very supportive of D'Vana, even if Tendi doesn't want to talk about her family or upbringing much with others around her. We've titled the subtitle of this part of the script Brutherford, and I think that's aptly fitting. Finally, we have to talk a little bit about the B plot of this episode, which focuses on Boimler and Rutherford, or as they now call themselves, Brotherford. Now they're sharing a room and seemingly get on extremely well together. This doesn't go too well as they fall over watering a bonsai tree, but they find out how to reconnect with one another by dressing up as Mark Twain and talking it out. No, I am not doing the accent for you. I will say that Mark Twain holoprogram was done very well. How Lower Decks does holoprograms is amazing, with the ever so subtle film grain added to the screen, which just adds so much detail. Tell you what, if we hit like 500 likes, I'll do the Mark Twain accent next week. There's your goal. We're not going to get that, so... oh boy. Their falling out then extends to an actual Starfleet issue, as the Cerritos has to deal with a channel off, a very anarchical species that is arguing about who should scan the nebula. Boimler and Rutherford propose the Mark Twain method, which doesn't work, but they manage to appease the channel off captain when he eats their bonsai tree. There is much to say about this B-plot. It's basically a standard Lower Decks B-plot, which is humorous but doesn't add too much to the story. The Lower Decks standard is high, but when contrasted with the A-plot of this episode, it is just there and nothing more, but it still does the job and is enjoyable. This episode, Something Borrowed, Something Green, was written by Grace Parajani and directed by Bob Suarez, who has directed a number of Lower Decks episodes, including most notably Waydouge. Grace Parajani seemingly is the main writer for a lot of the Tendi-focused episodes, as she wrote Hear All, Trust Nothing, the Deep Space Nine episode of Season 3, which also focused on Tendi. That episode really saw Tendi as a very capable Orion pirate, and this episode very much tells us everything else we need to know. So it's nice to have that continuity between episodes, and it makes sense when it's written by the same person. The music in this episode was very good, especially the piece that plays when we first see Orion as the shuttle goes through the atmosphere and reveals the Tendi villa. It was very grand and fantastical and really enhanced the scene. Some very nice animation, especially in the fight scene, but even throughout the episode the animation was very good and is living up to our standards of Season 4 so far. There is particularly a shot of the Cerritos just in space and it looks beautiful with the updated model for Season 4. A recurring joke for the episode was that Mariner kept getting stabbed by a dagger in the shoulder, which was meant for other people, either moving out of the way or ricocheting. How do you pronounce that again?
Ricochet.
Ricochet, thank you. What's the word again?
Ricochet.
Ricochet.
Haha, nope. I'm gonna stand way over here.
I'll let my blade do the talking.
Oh, come on!
Erica, don't stab my friends!
Either moving out of the way or ricocheting into her. This happened 3 times and was actually funny and didn't overstay its welcome in my opinion. It wasn't too brutal either way, which makes it funny, rather concerning, such as Mariner slicing Boimler's leg in the first episode of the show. Overall, this was a very good episode of Star Trek Lower Decks, giving us an insight into a very overlooked Star Trek species in a great way, while grinding with one of our characters who also has been quite overlooked in terms of character and backstory. The two complement each other extremely well, and I'm glad not only did we get a very Tendi focused episode, but did not detract from our other characters of T'Lyn, Mariner, Boimler and Rutherford. Overall, I think this is one of my favourite episodes of Season 4 so far. What do you think about it? So what do you think about Something Borrowed, Something Green? Was Orion everything you expected? Let us know in the comments below, because as always, if you're talking about Star Trek, then we'd love to hear about it. No, I mean it, get typing. If you want to keep up to date on all the latest Star Trek news, lore and more, then make sure to hit that subscribe button to never miss a video from the team here at Trek Central. You can also follow us on social media or join our community Discord server. For now, I've been Captain Jack, thank you for watching, and we will see you next week for more Star Trek Lower Decks. Live long and prosper, my friends. Goodbye.